Scotland, a country of stark contrasts, where the bustling Central Belt and home to vibrant cities like Glasgow and Edinburgh stands in stark relief to the vast empty expanses of its rural landscapes. With 70% of Scotland's 5.45 million residents concentrated in this small region, it begs the question, what draws so many people to this tiny corner of the country, leaving the remaining 94% of Scotland's landmass virtually uninhabited? Join us as we delve into the fascinating reasons behind this disparity and uncover the hidden secrets, as the United Kingdom will never tell you this about Scotland, Scotland's heartland. Before we reveal to you what the United Kingdom never told you about Scotland and why it's 94% empty, let's explore the Central Belt. This region, popularly known as the Central Belt, is the most densely populated area of Scotland, housing between 2.4 and 4.2 million people, which represents nearly 80% of the nation's population. If we include neighboring areas like East Fife, Perth, and Dundee, the Central Belt is a bustling corridor of activity and culture, stretching from coast to coast and encompassing some of Scotland's most vibrant cities. Though not geographically in the middle, the Central Belt is metaphorically the waist of Scotland, snugly situated between the Highlands in the north and the southern uplands in the south. This region is strategically important, historically bustling with industrial and urban development. Once called the Scottish Midlands, this name has somewhat fallen out of use, replaced by the more geographically ambiguous Central Belt. This area is largely defined by a triangle of motorways, the M8, M80, and M9, extending from Greenock and Glasgow in the west to Edinburgh in the east, known also as the Lowland Triangle. This urban expanse includes towns like Paisley, Hamilton, and Falkirk, each of which adds to the tapestry that makes the Central Belt uniquely industrious and culturally rich. Glasgow and Edinburgh, the twin titans of the region, are roughly 41 miles apart. These cities are the beating heart of the Belt's economic and cultural life. There are some claims that the cities might grow so much they eventually merge into a single sprawling megalopolis in the coming decades, thanks to economic migration and urban expansion. Beyond these urban centers, the larger Central Belt is a trapezoid-shaped area that stretches even wider to include Ayrshire in the southwest and Tayside in the northeast. This part of the Central Belt is less defined but covers low-lying areas, making up the fabric of Scotland's most populous region. The Central Belt of Scotland encompasses a vast and diverse region, stretching from the picturesque town of Helensburgh in the west to the historic town of Montrose in the east, and from the scenic town of Girvan in the southwest to the charming town of Dunbar in the southeast. This expansive area is characterized by a unique blend of rural and urban settings, creating a rich tapestry of landscapes that support a wide range of lifestyles and industries. Beyond the bustling cities and quaint towns, the Central Belt plays a vital role in Scotland's historical significance and its governmental and non-governmental frameworks. The region is home to numerous historical landmarks, cultural institutions, and administrative centers that have shaped the nation's past and continue to influence its present. The term "central" is aptly used by various local police and NGO designations to reflect the region's importance in Scotland's administrative and social structures. The Central Belt is the nerve center of Scotland's governance, housing key institutions and organizations that drive the country's development and growth. From the rolling hills and scenic coastlines to the vibrant cities and towns, the Central Belt is a microcosm of Scotland's diversity and complexity. The region's unique blend of rural and urban landscapes supports a wide range of industries, from agriculture and manufacturing to finance and technology. The Central Belt is also a hub of cultural and artistic expression, with numerous festivals, museums, and cultural events that showcase Scotland's rich heritage and creative talent. The region's historical significance is palpable, with landmarks like Stirling Castle, the National Wallace Monument, and the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Art drawing visitors from around the world. In addition to its cultural and historical significance, the Central Belt is a crucial driver of Scotland's economy, with key industries like finance, technology, and healthcare contributing significantly to the nation's GDP. The region's strategic location, infrastructure, and skilled workforce make it an attractive destination for businesses and investors. The Central Belt is a region of immense importance to Scotland, supporting a diverse range of lifestyles, industries, and cultural institutions that make the country unique. Its historical significance, governmental frameworks, and cultural landmarks make it a fascinating and complex region. Before we go on, let's take a slight detour and reveal another aspect about Scotland: the weather and population distribution. In the north of Scotland. Now, you might be wondering why other parts of Scotland are not as evenly populated as the Central Belt. Take the northern part of Scotland, for instance. It's essential to understand that there are indeed populated cities here, but they are a rare exception in the sparsely populated expanses of northern Scotland. Aberdeen stands out as a notable example. Known as Europe's oil capital, with a robust economy and one of the lowest unemployment rates in the UK, Aberdeen boasts a unique charm. The cost of living in Aberdeen might astonish you. The price of a castle could equate to that of a one-bedroom flat in London. This fact both astonishes and attracts people. However, despite these attractive features, Aberdeen doesn't draw in tourists as might be expected. The high cost of living, driven by the thriving oil industry, makes it less accessible for casual visitors and even some potential long-term residents. The city's economic focus on oil also means that much of its culture and leisure activities cater to its resident workforce, rather than tourists seeking historical or recreational activities. Moving beyond Aberdeen, the broader northern regions of Scotland present a challenging yet majestic landscape that influences both the climate and population distribution. The weather here is notoriously harsh, with coastal cities like Aberdeen experiencing many windy days. Winter brings dramatically reduced daylight hours, sometimes offering as little as 6 hours of light per day, which can deter all but the hardiest of residents and visitors. Inverness, another northern city, albeit much smaller than Aberdeen, with a population of around 50,000, presents a different aspect of northern Scotland. Known as the gateway to the Highlands, Inverness is steeped in history dating back to the 6th century and is famously associated with the Loch Ness Monster. Yet, its small population and remote location contribute to a sense of isolation, making it less appealing to young people looking for vibrant urban environments. The climatic conditions in northern Scotland are as varied as they are challenging. The region experiences a maritime climate, with temperatures rarely climbing above 59 degrees Fahrenheit even in summer. Winters are cold, especially inland and at higher altitudes, where temperatures can plummet below 14 degrees Fahrenheit. The rainfall in northern Scotland varies dramatically, with the west coast being one of the UK's wettest areas, receiving an average of over 4,000 millimeters of rainfall per year. In contrast, the eastern regions, such as those around Inverness, are significantly drier, but still subject to frequent and intense rainfall. This disparity in rainfall is due to the prevailing westerly winds, which bring warm, moist air from the Atlantic Ocean, resulting in high levels of precipitation on the west coast. Wind is another defining feature of the region's weather, with coastal and island areas frequently experiencing speeds that significantly exceed 18.6 meters per hour during storms. These speeds can soar much higher, particularly in the Orkney and Shetland Islands, where gusts of over 100 meters per hour are not uncommon. This adds to the region's rugged character, making it one of the most windswept areas in the UK. The challenging weather, combined with rugged terrain, has historically limited settlement to smaller towns, villages, and rural communities. The population density in northern Scotland is among the lowest in the UK, with an average of just 8 people per square kilometer. This sparse population distribution has contributed to a lifestyle that is distinctly different from other parts of Scotland, characterized by a closer connection to nature and a slower pace of life. The harsh weather conditions and remote location have also shaped the region's culture and economy, with many communities relying on traditional industries such as fishing, farming, and forestry. The region's natural beauty, with its rugged landscapes, picturesque lochs, and rolling hills, has also made it a popular destination for outdoor enthusiasts and nature lovers. Despite the challenges posed by the weather and terrain, the people of northern Scotland are known for their resilience and warm hospitality. The region's distinct cultural identity, shaped by its history, language, and traditions, is a source of pride for its residents, who work hard to preserve their heritage and way of life. The Scotland's Islands. We'll get to the reasons why Scotland is 94% empty and why the United Kingdom never told you about some of them. But first, let's talk about another fascinating aspect of Scotland, the Scotland's Islands. Did you know that Scotland has almost 800 islands? While this might evoke images of a vast archipelago teeming with bustling communities, the reality is quite different. Out of these numerous isles, only 93 are inhabited. Exploring the reasons behind this sparse habitation reveals a blend of geographical challenges, economic limitations, and the sheer rugged beauty that defines these remote landscapes. Scotland's islands are spread across 3 main groups: the Inner Hebrides, the Outer Hebrides, and the Northern Isles, each with its own distinct identity and challenges. The most populous island, Harris and Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, is home to around 21,000 people. This island's population might suggest a thriving community akin to tropical paradises in travel brochures, yet it's a world apart. With its chilly climate and remote location, travel to and from the Scottish Islands can be daunting. Some require a combination of train, bus, ferry, and even flight, with certain ferries running only once a week. The islands host the world's shortest commercial flight between Westray and Papa Westray, a novelty that lasts just 90 seconds. While these logistical quirks are a charm for visitors, they underscore the isolation that residents face daily. The difficulty in accessing these islands is just the tip of the iceberg. Living on one of Scotland's islands comes with its set of challenges. Limited housing options drive up living costs, and the sparse internet connectivity adds to the sense of isolation. Education and entertainment options are minimal, which especially affects families with children, contributing to a demographic trend where younger generations leave for better opportunities on the mainland. Economically, these islands often rely on a narrow range of industries. While places like Islay are famed for their whiskey distilleries, and the Isle of Skye is known for its natural beauty, attracting tourists, many other islands don't have significant economic draws. The islands' economies are traditionally based on fishing, small-scale farming, and in some areas, crafts like the Harris tweed. However, these industries provide limited employment opportunities, making economic sustainability a challenge. The demographic shifts in islands like the Outer Hebrides are particularly telling. From a population of 46,000 in 1901, it dwindled to 26 by 2001, a stark decrease of 43%. Projections suggest it could fall even further, a decline that could potentially alter these communities permanently. This decline is mirrored in the cultural fabric of the islands, where Gaelic, once the lingua franca, is now endangered, with active efforts required to preserve this integral part of Scottish heritage. Despite the numerous challenges that come with living on Scotland's islands, their allure remains undiminished. The landscapes of these islands offer an unmatched tranquility and beauty, from the dramatic cliffs of Hoy in the Orkney Islands to the serene beaches of Harris in the Outer Hebrides. These islands are havens for wildlife, providing a habitat for a diverse range of species, and are steeped in a rich history that attracts those with a taste for adventure and a love for nature. Culturally, the islands are vibrant, with festivals and community gatherings playing a central role in island life. These events maintain a strong sense of community and belonging, celebrating the unique heritage of the islands, from the Norse history of Shetland to the Celtic traditions of the Hebrides. The islanders' strong sense of identity and community is a testament to their resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. Efforts to sustain these communities are ongoing, with investments in renewable energy sources like wind and tidal power offering new economic opportunities. Initiatives to improve connectivity and infrastructure aim to make living on the islands more viable, addressing the challenges posed by remote locations and limited access to services. These efforts are crucial for reversing or at least stabilizing the population decline, ensuring that Scotland's islands do not become mere relics of the past. The importance of preserving the cultural heritage and natural beauty of these islands cannot be overstated. They offer a unique glimpse into Scotland's history and a chance to experience the country's rugged and unspoiled landscapes. As we explore the reasons why Scotland is 94% empty and why the United Kingdom never tells you about these things, we are led to our next destination, where we will delve deeper into the complexities of Scotland's population decline and the efforts being made to address it. The Scottish Highlands. You are likely still wondering about the vast, sparsely populated expanses of the Scottish Highlands. The reasons behind the sparse population and rugged beauty of this region trace back to its geological and historical narratives. The Highlands are not just a mere stretch of wilderness, but a testament to Scotland's tumultuous history and unique geographical features. The terrain of the Scottish Highlands is primarily mountainous, accounting for 60% of Scotland's total land area. The mountains are part of the same ancient range that includes the Appalachian Mountains in America, known collectively as the Central Pangean Mountains, before the continents drifted apart. Today, the Highlands boast all of the UK's 20 tallest mountains, creating a landscape that is dramatically different from the gentler rolling hills of England and Wales. However, living in such a mountainous region comes with its set of challenges. The lack of essential infrastructure, such as adequate housing, educational facilities, and accessible roads, makes daily life difficult. Most of the current residents are self-sustaining, relying on their own means to produce food and generate power. This lifestyle is necessary in a region where modern conveniences can be scarce, and the nearest store or medical facility can be miles away. Historically, the Highlands were densely populated by Scottish clans who lived off the land and defended their territories fiercely against invaders, including the Romans, Vikings, and the English. The natural fortification provided by the rugged terrain offered a strategic advantage, serving as a natural barrier against many historical foes. However, the population of the Highlands saw a dramatic decrease due to the highland clearances of the 18th and 19th centuries. This event was marked by the forced eviction of inhabitants to make way for sheep pastoralism, the aftermath of the Jacobite Rebellion, and the tragic Battle of Culloden in 1746, which also contributed significantly to the depopulation. The estimated population of around 300,000 during the 18th and 19th centuries dwindled to about 200,000 today, reflecting a stark contrast to the bustling life that once characterized these lands. The Highland clearances reshaped the social landscape of the Highlands, effectively dismantling the clan system and causing a massive shift in the population dynamics. Many Highlanders were pushed to the coasts or immigrated to other parts of the world, leaving behind vast areas of empty land that once thrummed with the daily activities of rural life. Despite these hardships, the Scottish Highlands have retained their allure, seeking tranquility away from the public eye. The region's isolation and natural beauty provide a perfect backdrop for those looking to escape the hectic pace. Celebrities like Billy Connolly, Paul McCartney, and Bob Dylan have been known to retreat to the Highlands, drawn by its serene landscapes and the privacy it offers. Bob Dylan even immortalized his fondness for the region in his song, declaring that his heart's in the Highlands. The weather in the Highlands can vary dramatically within just a few hours' drive due to the diverse terrain. causing enviable temperature fluctuations that can be a topic of discussion among the locals. Such climatic diversity adds another layer of complexity to life in the Highlands. Why does the United Kingdom never tell us these things about Scotland? Be patient just a little bit longer, because we're about to discuss various theories that might provide an answer to this question. Theories behind the empty expanses all point to a fascinating tapestry of history, economy, and mystery. The geographic challenge is the first piece of this puzzle, as we already mentioned. The rugged terrain of the Highlands makes modern living challenging. Constructing roads and buildings on such land is not only technically difficult, but also economically unfeasible. As such, these areas have naturally remained underdeveloped, fostering only sparse settlements, primarily made up of those who prefer isolation or are engaged in traditional industries like sheep farming. Economically, the focus of Scotland has shifted dramatically over the centuries, with industrial and job opportunities clustering around the Central Belt. Cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow thrive as urban hubs, leaving the Highlands to retain their natural beauty and sense of isolation. This urban concentration draws people away from remote areas, leaving parts of the Highlands underpopulated. Such economic migration has sculpted the demographic landscape of Scotland, accentuating the divide between the bustling urban centre and the quiet, expansive Highlands. Conservation efforts further influence this distribution. Much of the Scottish wilderness is safeguarded within national parks and nature reserves, where development is heavily restricted to preserve natural beauty and biodiversity. While this protects the environment, it also ensures that large tracts of land remain untouched by modern development. This is where things start to pick up. Amid these straightforward reasons, more intriguing theories circulate, suggesting covert motivations. Some speculate that the UK government has deliberately discouraged settlement in the Highlands to maintain control over the region's vast natural resources, including oil, gas, and renewable energy sources. Others propose that the government aims to preserve the Highlands as a strategic military buffer zone, taking advantage of the region's remote and rugged terrain. These theories may seem far-fetched, but they underscore the complexity of the issue and the various factors at play. As we delve deeper into the mystery of Scotland's empty expanses, we begin to unravel a tangled web of history, economy, and politics that has shaped the country's demographic landscape. The mysteries behind the emptiness of the Highlands. The mysteries behind the emptiness of the Highlands. The United Kingdom never told you this about Scotland, so prepare yourself, because these theories might just blow your mind. Some propose that the Highlands serve as a strategic reserve, kept empty for future needs, such as emergency relocation when something terrible happens and people are in big trouble. This strategic reserve theory suggests a layer of foresight in land management, preparing for unseen future scenarios. But things get even crazier with the secret base theory, which stirs the imagination with ideas of hidden military bases or underground facilities dedicated to advanced research or covert operations. The remote and inaccessible nature of the Highlands makes it a perfect candidate for such secretive undertakings. The conservation theory offers another twist, suggesting that the push for conservation might mask less publicly acceptable activities, perhaps hiding secret operations or valuable resources under the guise of environmental protection. Not to be overlooked are the tales of ancient secrets and relics hidden within the vast wilderness. This ancient secrets theory taps into the rich vein of Scottish history and lore, positing that certain areas are kept uninhabited to protect secrets buried in time. Then, we have the wealthy landowners theory, which points out that much of the Highland land is owned by a small number of individuals or entities. These owners, often wealthy and influential, might choose to keep the land undeveloped for personal reasons, such as maintaining hunting estates or exclusive retreats. But that's not all. Some propose a different theory, stating that underneath the serene landscapes of Scotland lies a hidden threat, a fire smoldering in empty places. Some say it's a sign of a looming natural disaster that could shake the foundations of the nation. According to some claims, even King Charles has voiced his concern, saying that this is terrible and that people are in big trouble. And here's what the United Kingdom never told you about Scotland. This quiet land might be sitting on a ticking time bomb. If that's the case, then the growing tensions between the UK and Scotland make this an even bigger problem. So, let's talk about that next. The long-standing tensions between Scotland and the UK. The long-standing conflict between the United Kingdom and Scotland. From a historical perspective, did you know that the conflict between Scotland and the United Kingdom has deep historical roots and complex political, economic, and cultural dimensions? This conflict goes back centuries, but in the last few decades, it has acquired new dynamics, especially with the discussions around Scottish independence and its role within the broader UK framework. But let's take a step back and explore the historical discord between Scotland and England, which predates even the formation of their respective kingdoms. Initial conflicts saw the Northumbrians, Picts, and Dalriata, early groups inhabiting what are now Scotland and parts of England, clashing frequently, mostly over territorial disputes. As the centuries progressed, these skirmishes evolved into full-blown wars, most notably during the Wars of Scottish Independence from 1296 to 1357. These battles were not only about land, but were also crucial in forging a distinct Scottish identity, epitomized by iconic figures like William Wallace and Robert the Bruce. The two nations continued their tumultuous relationship until a significant turning point in 1707, when the Act of Union merged them into a single political entity, the United Kingdom of Great Britain. This union was controversial, as many Scots felt it was imposed upon them, overshadowing the will of the Scottish people and leading to centuries of lingering bitterness. Throughout the 20th century, this historical backdrop set the stage for modern political movements aimed at revisiting Scotland's status within the UK. The Scottish National Party, established in 1934, became the torchbearer for the cause of Scottish independence. Initially marginalized, the SNP gained substantial ground towards the end of the century, reflecting growing sentiments for autonomy among Scots. In a pivotal moment in 1997, the Scottish electorate voted in favor of establishing their own parliament, which was officially convened in 1999. The Scottish Parliament was granted authority over various domestic issues, such as education, health, and justice, although more strategic concerns like defense and foreign affairs remained under the jurisdiction of Westminster. This devolution of powers was seen as a compromise, balancing the call for more self-governance with the benefits of remaining in the UK. Scotland's path towards autonomy after the year 2000 has been marked by continued debates and negotiations, shaping the country's future within the UK. After the year 2000, the relationship between Scotland and the United Kingdom entered a dynamic phase, marked by political shifts, significant referendums, and debates over independence. These developments have continuously reshaped the interactions and tensions between the two. The establishment of the Scottish Parliament in 1999, under the devolution process, was a significant stride towards self-governance for Scotland. This allowed Scotland autonomy over various domestic matters, including education, health, and justice. Despite these powers, many Scots felt the arrangement fell short, particularly in areas like fiscal policy and defense, where Westminster retained control. This ongoing desire for greater autonomy kept the flames of contention well-fueled. The Scottish National Party gained substantial traction in the early 21st century, eventually dominating Scottish politics. Their rise to power in the Scottish Parliament, elections in 2007, and winning an absolute majority in 2011 set the stage for the 2014 independence referendum. This pivotal event asked Scots whether Scotland should become an independent country, with 55% voting against independence. The result underscored a deep societal division and did not diminish calls for independence. Rather, it intensified them. Post-referendum, the SNP's influence only grew stronger, exemplified by their significant victories in the 2015 Westminster elections. Under Nicola Sturgeon's leadership, the SNP continued to advocate for expanded powers for Scotland within the UK framework. Brexit added a new layer of complexity to Scotland-UK relations. Scotland's overwhelming vote to remain in the EU in 2016 contrasted sharply with the overall UK decision to leave. Many Scots felt disconnected from the rest of the UK, fueling a renewed push for independence. The SNP's stance on Brexit further solidified their position as champions of Scottish autonomy, setting the stage for ongoing debates and negotiations about Scotland's future within the UK. The Scottish National Party vehemently argued that the Brexit outcome was a game-changer that justified another referendum on independence, citing the fundamental shift in circumstances since the 2014 vote. However, Westminster rejected this stance, maintaining that the 2014 referendum was decisive and that Scotland had already made its choice. This refusal to reconsider the question of independence only served to further entrench the divisions between Scotland and the UK. The management of the pandemic highlighted the differences in governance between Scotland and the UK, with Scotland's distinct approach under Nicola Sturgeon's leadership receiving considerable approval from its citizens. The Scottish government's emphasis on caution, transparency, and community solidarity resonated deeply with the public, who appreciated the clear communication and decisive action taken to mitigate the spread of the virus. In contrast, the UK government's response was often criticized for being slow, confusing, and overly focused on economic concerns. This perceived disparity in governance only added fuel to the pro-independence sentiment, as many Scots began to question why they should be tied to a government that seemed so out of touch with their values and priorities. As the pandemic wore on, the SNP's approval ratings soared, with Sturgeon's leadership and vision for Scotland's future earning widespread acclaim. The party's commitment to social justice, environmental sustainability, and community empowerment struck a chord with voters, who saw a clear distinction between the SNP's progressive values and the UK's more conservative approach. The Brexit debacle and the pandemic response had, in effect, created a perfect storm that propelled the independence movement forward. The SNP's argument that Scotland deserved a say in its own future, free from the shackles of Westminster's dominance, gained traction with each passing day. As the UK's reputation continued to suffer, Scotland's confidence in its own abilities grew, setting the stage for a potentially historic showdown over the country's future. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.